The idea for the club came about through both Aaron and I, my partner, being interested in music, very interested in music. And we've been talking about doing something together, club-wise, for a long time. I was actually involved on a very minor basis with a club in Macclesfield called Bar Cuba. And he'd heard about that. But that didn't work, unfortunately. But he wanted to emulate it. And he is a great fan of Manchester music. And he asked me and Manny to get involved in a club he was doing in the Northern Quarter. Unfortunately, the lease on that one was very, very difficult to sort out, and he couldn't do it. I must admit, at that point, whilst the idea of having another club appealed, it didn't have 100% appeal. And I was sort of questioning, you know, whether I was ready for it or whether it was interesting enough to do. And then, as I said before, that one fell through, and this building, which is on Charles Street, which is the old factory headquarters from the record label, came on the market because of the credit crunch. The builder had gone bust, who was going to turn it into flats, just what Manchester needs, more flats. And it came up for lease. So Aaron and I thought that this was perfect, and then it gave me the missing piece of the jigsaw, if you like, the little bit of impetus that I needed. The history and the past was the thing that very helpfully propelled me into the future. I always thought this particular building would have made a much better club than it did an office. It was cavernous as an office. It was much too big, really, for the amount of people involved in factory. And when factory went bankrupt, I used to actually frequent it a lot as a Paradise Factory. It used to be my busman's night out from the Hacienda, was coming to the Paradise Factory on a Wednesday and a Thursday. So I'd been here a lot, but it was quite odd seeing it, you know, run down and broken down and completely empty. It was weird. I mean, you know, my life as a musician in Manchester has been very surreal, and you know, this fits in perfectly, really, with the surreality of my life. To get this place back afterwards, and for all the people in Manchester to remember and to rekindle the past again, and to actually be interested and respectful to it, which I thought was the most wonderful thing, you know. And a lot of our audience, which are very young and shouldn't really be listening to me at all, are very glad and very happy that you're doing something. And it came as a wonderful, very pleasant surprise to realise and feel that, you know, Manchester was waiting for it. And it was quite odd, really, because first thing Aaron said to me was, you know, because of the way the reception was, that we should have done it years ago. I've heard very, very bad reports of the way that clubs were treating DJs and bands in Manchester, pay to play, which I think personally is a bit of a scandal. So I mean, the thing is that, you know, you have to balance reality with idealism, and Factory and the Hacienda was built purely on idealism. And I must admit that, you know, if New Order and Joy Division hadn't written the great songs that they had, it wouldn't have lasted 5 minutes. So, and we were prepared to do that because we believed in idealism, we believed in Tony, and we believed in Rob Gretton. This place, I'm working with a businessman, so you have to, it's quite an interesting jockeying for position that we both do, you know, balancing the idealism and the realism. And the thing is that what I'd like to think is that if people had an idea or had a band, that they could come to you, and as the Hacienda, the office, we advertise for bands and DJs, and the response has been fantastic. And so now it's my job to listen and sift through those and bring them here, and, you know, hopefully create the next New Order or the next Ting Tings, just to propagate it. I mean, I'm a great believer in Manchester. I think Manchester's a wonderful place, and it always has been, and I'm a great believer in the people of Manchester and Salford. And so it's a pleasure to me to carry on keeping Manchester going, because wherever I go in the world, and over the past 30 years, whenever, the greeting that you get from Manchester is either Manchester United, 24-hour party people, Joy Division, and I'm so happy to be a part of it. And really, in reality, I want that to last forever, you know. So I'm delighted to be involved. It's very hard work, and As you know, everybody keeps telling me I've got enough to do, which is wonderful. But it's nice to give something back. You know, I was taught very early as a musician that to keep things going, you had to give something back. You had to kindle the fire, if you like, and rekindle the fire. And this, I suppose, is my attempt at translating the success I've had promoting the Hacienda brand and taking those nights from Manchester to the world. And this is my, you know, my second stab really at giving Manchester somewhere that I'm happy with and hopefully makes other people happy. I mean, the design elements that we've used, basically down to Ben Kelly, who designed the building, and I think he did a fantastic job. He designed the Hacienda, and which was amazing and still looks fantastic now. And the idea was to keep the bedrock of what he did, because to be honest with you, we were thinking and looking around and thinking, well, we couldn't really do it better, so why not, you know, polish it up, if you like, and make it as good as new, which is what he's did. He's put a lot of work into it and brought a lot of elements for the future, and I think it looks great personally. You know, I think it's a great spot, and I've DJ'd here now twice on a Saturday night, because that's when we had the Hacienda night, and the response is fantastic. You know, I mean, it's quite humbling really to think that you can elicit that again, you know. But I mean, blowing my own trumpet, you know, me and the boys in New Order and Joy Division did a lot of work over the years to establish, you know, our back catalogue, I suppose you'd say. So it's nice to have it out again.